I want to talk about funk music.
I would also like to. I would like to talk about funk music, specifically of the P variety.
Exactly. I make my funk the P funk.
Do you want to give? Do you want to get funked up?
Yeah, I want it. I want my funk uncut.
If it's convenient for the rest of the audience,
Yes.
I would enjoy to get funked up.
Preferably with uncut P funk.
That's right. Don't want like baby aspirin or baking soda or
Like the full
Baking
strength.
soda. I've got the baking soda.
Why
what's
is your
that funk?
version of cocoa Jewish? Like, why is it?
Baking soda. I've got the baking soda. Buenos nachos, amigos, and welcome to another fantastic episode of Record Breakers. I'm Petey Wave, your man with no plan. Here with me, as always, is my crew, my team of record reviewers. We have none other than Drew.
Hello.
We've got Brett.
don't step on my funk. You dig?
And we've got Patrick.
Hello.
And we have a special guest with us today. We have the return to a proper episode. We have none other than Matthew Squiggles Walton. How you doing, Matt?
I am freaking amazing. It's so good to be back, finally.
Yes. Finally.
Well, don't count chickens before the hatch. This might
Finally, the Squigs has come back to Record Breakers. And well, he is not providing an album. We're providing an album upon him. And the one that's going to go ahead and introduce the album is none other than Brett. Brett, what are we making Squigs listen to?
We're gonna listen to the band Parliament and their album Mothership Connection.
I'll go ahead and do in this episode give Squigs the last word on each segment. So I'll go with Drew. What expectations did you have coming into this album?
Well, I am always a fan of music with a good horn line, so I am familiar with funk music. And if you are familiar with funk music, you are very familiar with George Clinton and all of the bands that he has touched. Parliament being a very important one, and this album being pretty important, but we'll get into that a little later. I sort of knew the brand of funk I was getting into, the P-funk, as it were.
Patrick, what expectations did you have coming into this album?
Bootsy Collins. That was my most of my knowledge of Parliament and therefore Funkadelic was Bootsy's involved, George Clinton's involved. I have heard P-funk songs, but I've never listened to a P-funk record, so this was kind of a new-ish experience for me.
You needed to say longer. Stretch.
And I'm camping.
And last but not least, Matt, what expectations did you have coming into this album?
So, I was a little afraid because I don't know if Brett even remembers this, but he had talked to me about Bootsy Collins and the various flavors of funk he had been involved in. And at one point, I think to try to win me over, he showed me this video of Bootsy Collins just kind of noodle around on his bass with like a GoPro attached, just showing off his effects, and I did not find that to be particularly funky. So I was a little worried that it would be kind of more of that, but well, It was a nice surprise.
All right. Well, we'll talk about what you encountered once you actually started listening to the album. Brett, what did Squiggles and everybody encounter once they got into this?
Well, I mean, this album is it's the funk. It is like Petey and his 4 whitest friends are here talking about the funk. But let us not forget that if we're going to rate by who is the whitest person in this room, I think Drew, who's the whitest person in this room?
That would be the guy that was judging the level of funk of Bootsy Collins, Mr.
Correct. Yes. But as described by George Clinton about this album, he said that he had put black people in situations nobody ever thought they'd be in, like the White House. He figured another place people wouldn't think black people would be is in outer space. He was a big fan of Star Trek, so he did a thing with a pimp sitting on a spaceship shaped like a Cadillac, and they did James Brown type grooves, but with street talking and ghetto slang.
Yeah, that's certainly a thing. Drew, how would you describe the themes and elements on this record? What stands out?
The thing about Parliament and George Clinton, Bootsy Collins, like sort of duo in general, is it is funk. There is a lot of funk to be had. It's just a pure, amazing groove. The two of them can write great songs, and the musicianship is just always stellar. It's just amazing. There's a reason that this was sort of sent out by the Library of Congress as an album that is important to music and to a genre. Me and Brett were talking before the show, and this album got like ridiculously high praise across the board, like almost perfect scores across the board. It is a funk album that is just like like when you think of funk, in my opinion, in the back of your head, you're thinking of Bootsy Collins, you're thinking of Parliament, you're thinking of that P-Funk groove. It just permeates everything. It's something that pushed the genre into something else and something crazy. This sets up, and I'm sure we'll get into talking about this a little later. This album set up the P-Funk mythos, as it were, and there's a reason for that. It is the album's funk classic. It is one of the best albums ever, and probably arguably the best funk album of all time.
Patrick, what did you encounter once you got into the funk?
All of the funk. The funkiest funk that ever did funk. That is what this record is. If you have an inkling for funk, this is funk. Also, just if you are like me and you have a soft spot for things produced by Warren G and things produced by Dr. Dre that Dr. Dre doesn't actually rap on, that era of hip hop, you've heard all of this before because this has been sampled to death. But between that and George Clinton, like, why do we live in a world where he is not the face of Black America? Because George Clinton's fucking awesome.
No, wait a minute. You're telling me that this band is full of African Americans?
I'm just like, George Clinton's a national treasure. How do you get this many ridiculous musicians on stage at the same time and record an album this good in 1970 whatever?
He is a great musician. He is a amazing songwriter, an amazing composer, and he's made some of the best, funkiest, grooviest tunes to dance to of all time. I don't know if we want a dude that smokes that much rock to be a role model to anybody at all, ever.
I'm just saying, I think everyone would get along.
He did shoot really well from downtown in NBA Jam if you punched in the codes.
This album is made out of wonderful, wonderful, funky happiness.
Yes. Matt, Squiggles, what was your impression? What themes and elements caught your attention about this album?
So one of my favorite kind of types of music to listen to is something I can just put on and just groove to while I work on whatever ridiculous project I'm working on into like way too late in the morning. And this certainly fit the bill. It would, just, super groovy, it really great to listen to. And the DJ in the album, I couldn't help but imagine kind of a cross between Johnny Fever and Venus Flytrap from WKRP.
Squigs, you just right there with the WKRP reference just made me truly believe you are actually 47 years old.
Yeah, exactly. He's trying to trick us. He's an immortal. He's been living many lives. He's soon he will disappear. We'll never see Squiggles again. He will
Squiggles
live under
will go back to his home planet, which also contains George Clinton.
He'll move to another city, assume another name, and have to start college all over again.
And still be dropping references to shows that were before my time.
Like literally a show that was like it ended a decade before you were born.
Exactly. Yes.
I mean, I'm not saying I haven't seen every episode of I Love Lucy and many other classic shows, but WKRP is some deep fucking cuts.
Yes. All right, let's talk about some key tracks. Brett, you can go ahead. You're the guy. You're the guide. What are some
I'm
of
the
key
wheelman.
Yes. What are some of the key tracks on this album?
Well, the record breakers thing. I'm going to say that there is probably the perfect song ever written. Like, you can stop writing songs. They did it already. They like broke the mold after they were done. That is the opening track, P-Funk.
Yes.
Wants to get funked up.
Yes.
That is about as awesome of a song as you can get, because it asks the most important questions and tells you the most important information. Which is pretty much the lyrics of that song have been repeated 5 or 6 times in conversations, straight-faced and dry, before we recorded the show.
Yes.
Then it goes into Mothership Connection, which is a classic track. But probably the most notable song on this album is Give Up the Funk or Tear the Roof Off the Sucker. But this album is littered with great things. I'm sure somebody will bring up what you might have to do with handcuffs, or like any number of songs that have the quack bass. There is so much stuff that goes on in these songs that you can't even pick. Like, they said David Bowie in one song. They talked about the Doobie Brothers.
And Doobie Brothers.
Like, there are things in this album
that
it's so dense with the greatest things ever. Like, this is peak music. Like, we can't get any better than this.
I mean, can you imagine Doobie in your funk?
That's right. I cannot.
No,
Ugh.
I can't even. Drew, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
Petey really trying to be the whitest person in the room. Literally can't even. Stiff competition, Squiggles, get ready.
He can
The
win
thing
that.
is, the songs I wanted to talk about, the exact same, and for almost the same reasons. It starts off, do you want to get funked up? Yes, you do. Like, how do you describe it? Like, it is
magic.
Like, you open up saying, hey, guess what? We're a funk band. Funk bands notorious for saying, hey, guess what we're going to be? A funk band. All we're going to do is make you groove. That's it. We're going to make you have a good time. You're going to get funked up. And that's great. The lyrics and the tone of the song is great. It makes you want to dance. It makes you want to get up. Like, that's what funk makes you want to do, period. It gets a little freeform in the middle. It quiets down. It gets that groove. And it lets the horns play a little bit. The piano, pushing, egging them on to just keep going and keep being more out there, more wild. It's like that type of groove that it falls into, the quieter, like solo-y groove that makes me love the music, like funk, like jazz, like blues, that gets into that solo moment where the musicians can just be musicians and give you a wink and a nod and be like, check out this crazy shit I'm about to do on my instrument. Like, that's awesome to me. Mothership Connection. If you think you don't know Parliament, if you think you don't know George Clinton, and you listened to any sort of rap music in the 90s, you will probably recognize this song. It is, the hook is just so solid and so great that it just grabs you, and that's why it was probably sampled in one of the most recognizable rap songs, in my opinion. And then we're gonna give up the funk. It's that funk attitude again. The lyrics let you know what's gonna happen. It's gonna focus on the rhythm. And I was telling this story before we got going. The sort of group vocal on this makes you want to sing along, because you're like, I'm gonna be another voice in the big crowd of awesome music that's happening, and I'm gonna, like, you just feel it. And me and a friend, like, walking around some no-name school, like, during marching band season one year, decided that we were going to inform everyone that we were going to tear the roof off the sucker, as we were walking around, screaming the song at the top of our lungs, dancing around the back lot of some school we didn't know. And that's all you need to know about this type of music. It's just fun. That's just what it is.
Patrick, what would be some of the tracks that caught your attention?
All of them. I'm just gonna go that, and I'm not gonna dig into all of them, but all of them. So I'm gonna try to talk about some of the one, a little bit about mention, but not as a one. Handcuffs has like the most spectacular vocals on the record. Like, the song for the vocals alone is totally worth its, its position. But my whole, like, when you get to Give Up the Funk, you've heard this song a million times, you've heard it sampled a million times, and yet it never gets old. I could put that song on and probably leave it on for 8 hours, and I'd probably still be okay with it. Like, it's really good, and it's from, when people talk about music used to be better, and that's debatable, this album is from a better time, because this song exists, and it's catchy and poppy, and it doesn't have to be 3.5 minutes long. Like, it is a complicated, complex, super rich song, but it's still something you can sing along and dance to, like, pop music ought to be, which is sort of the brilliance of this record, is that it is catchy and enjoyable, but it's like the musicianship on it is otherworldly levels. Everyone knows how to play and knows how to play well. They're super tight. The album is, especially given the time it was created, sounds amazing. You can go and pick out an instrument and follow it from the beginning of a track to the end, no matter what instrument it is. If you want to dial in on the drums, you dial in on the drums. If you want to follow the bass, go follow it. If you want to hear, like, the craziest 1970s analog synth sounds, this has them all. Mm-hmm. And it's funky.
Yes. Funky. Matt, now that everybody stole all the good ideas, what tracks caught your attention?
Well, I'll go ahead and also say track one. So, again, I was approaching this with this trepidation, might be a good word, of like, is this going to be avant-garde bass? I'm not quite sure. And then the second track one starts, I'm like, hang on. Okay, this is, okay, yeah, I can get into this. I can dig it. And, just got better. Got better from there.
I can dig it.
Continue. I'm sorry.
You need a moment. And track 6. Oh God, I can't even. The Tear the Roof Off. That has, yeah. I was talking to my roommates about that. If you go to Wikipedia, that has the most detailed musical analysis of any song I've ever seen. It's like, I'm pretty sure somebody had to just write a report for like college or something and then once they were done with this song, they just threw it up on Wikipedia. That's my only explanation.
Yeah.
It's fantastic to read, just that somebody devoted that much time to this one track. And lastly, Night of the Thumposaurus Peoples. I'm sorry, but the quacking, it just sounded like farting. And like at first it was kind of neat, and then to me it got old fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Seinfeld isn't funny.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Seinfeld is funny.
No, it's the
trope.
Pedal.
It's a trope. It's a trope. Look it up on TV tropes.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like.
That being said, I will fight you to the death.
Yes. I'll look up the trope and you'll understand why you referenced it. But yes, as you were saying, Squiggles, some great tracks. You just did, and I just looked up that Brett just provided us with the link to the Wikipedia article on Tear the Roof Off This Sucker, Give Up the Funk. Yeah, it's in jazz influence form. 3 themes are stated at the beginning of the track. You've got a real type of thing. A. B. We want the funk. And C. La la la.
La la la.
It's like usually using A is usually using a syncopated bass line. B is a chorus of sorts. It's like
and don't forget D, which is we're going to turn this mother out, and E, let us in. We'll turn this mother out.
Oh,
that's a report for like a introduction to music that,
exactly.
that you can take from Wikipedia and turn in. Don't say the record breakers didn't give you nothing.
Yes, exactly.
I guarantee it's the other way around too. I guarantee somebody had to write that for some. I bet it was like a freshman.
Jazz and popular music.
Yeah,
jazz and popular music class in community college or whatever. It's like I took that class. You do a report on a song. It's like, all right, here you go. You analyze the song and did a report on it.
And they did a pretty good job of it. Like looking through it, it's like they somebody had to spend some time listening to this song.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, let's go around the horn and talk about conclusive thoughts. Brett, what would you say would be a conclusive thought about this album?
This is about the perfect album ever. I don't know, like, who am I to say that most popular reviewers are wrong, or the Library of Congress is wrong, or the RIAA who made this
they're usually
this platinum.
They're usually
or just about anybody who's ever heard any of this music sampled. There's a reason you sample music, because it's got the beat, it's got the groove, it's got the hook, but this album's got the funk. And if you need to figure out like a way to quell the problems with your mama, it'll tell you what you need to do, or to at least threaten. But like there is so much in this. It's such a dense album. Like none of these songs are made like. You can tell that when they recorded this, they were really, really particular about how they wanted it to sound. They were really tight, but they didn't take themselves seriously. You can't take yourself seriously. It's funk music. They talk about David Bowie, which is the like greatest thing ever in the Doobie Brothers, as we said earlier. Yeah. But like it is so fantastic, and just the musicianship is top notch for something as ridiculous as this. This is like the most schlocky mid-70s like space opera meets funk music from the greatest people who could ever be doing it. Yes. Go listen to it. Buy it for your mother. Listen to it with your grandmother. Tear the roof off the sucker.
Exactly. Drew, what would be your conclusive thoughts about the album?
If you wondered what funk was at any given point in your life, if you hear the term funk or funky and you don't have a baseline funkometer to go off of, if you have no idea what Toe Jam and Earl were trying to prove to people,
what their planet was named after.
Right. What their goals were all about. Go listen to Mothership Connection. Like I said before at the beginning, there's something about the George Clinton Bootsy duo that just everything they were involved in at any given point just is music that you can't help but listen to and smile, because it's not only that ridiculous, but it's also just that damn good. Like, usually it's something that's ridiculous and out there, and the composition lacks or the musicianship lacks. No. Like, that doesn't happen here. This is about a pimp in a spaceship shaped like a Cadillac, bringing funk to planets, and it's so tightly done. Like, it's just, every point is hit beautifully in this record.
Patrick, what would be your conclusion about the album overall?
So when this original idea of us making Squigs listen to Parliament came out, I was like, oh, Parliament, I'm at least gonna, like, I can't hate Parliament. Because, like I said, I've never listened to it before. I fucking loved this. This is one of the genuine, like, this is so much better than I thought it was gonna be records. And I didn't think it was gonna be bad. Like, this is joining Bad Rabbits as, like, my biggest surprise I've listened to on the show that I'm going to continue to listen to all the time. This is now going to be in heavy rotation. I always I love when you find a what I call a perfect record, where it's just, there's no bad songs, there's no filler. It gets in, has, a couple of awesome songs, and everything in between still good, and then it gets out and it doesn't overstay its welcome. This is perfect. This is how you make a good record. It's, 40 minutes long. Every song on it's fun. Everything's played well. George Clinton, as I said, is a national treasure. And, if there was a human being Hall of Fame, he should be in it. Because, this is just happiness set to a funky bass line. That is what this album is. He's we didn't really talk about it. He has his own fucking superhero alien alter ego Star Child. How fucking rad is that? Like, us being a bunch of dorks, that this
Speak for yourself, dude.
Okay, well, Brett's cool. Brett has a motorcycle, therefore he's cool.
You're doing a podcast. You can't say you're not a dork.
But
I'm a dweeb. Thank you very much.
Basically, Parliament and P-Funk, this whole thing was just George Clinton LARPing harder than anyone ever LARPed. That is what he was doing, and for that, he should be cheered.
And it made history.
And it made history. Usually we're always like, oh, go listen to it. It won't hurt you. Go fucking listen to this record. It's amazing.
Yeah. All right.
If this doesn't make you happy, you have no soul.
Last but not least, Matthew Squiggles Walton. What did you think? What was your conclusive thoughts about the album overall?
So this is absolutely going into regular rotation for me. Just super fun album. Again, it's a great album for me to stay up until 5 a.m. working on some project, because apparently that's what I do for fun. To be honest, my enjoyment of the album kind of tapers down as I listen to it, with each track. I'm not sure if that's the actual track, if it's the fault of the actual tracks, or if it's just because I've been listening to it for 7 minutes, then 13 minutes, etc. So I'll probably listen to it in a random shuffle and see if that changes. That being said, I would love to check out some Funkadelic as well. So Brett, it seems like you are the resident expert on funk.
Funkadelic is actually the less funk of the two. So the funny thing. So go find you some more Parliament. Find you some Bootsy. They've had 38 members in that band, so you can. I mean, there's plenty of funk out there to be had.
Yes.
Are you gonna like wake up tomorrow and buy like star-shaped sunglasses and like heels with fish in them? Have we negative peer pressured you into the funk?
Yes.
It wasn't on my docket for tomorrow. I mean, my first class is at 12 though, so I do have some time in the morning, assuming I don't sleep till then. That being said, absolutely, I'm totally listening to some more funk.
Yes. Yes. And the mission
accomplished.
Exactly.
Achievement unlocked.
And we have won. Of course. That is our thoughts. We've left a nice good impression on Squiggles, and now we get to the main event of the evening. A nice little jam-packed full edition of the haikus, the haiku reviews. Let's start with Brett again. Brett, what is your haiku?
Imposing the funk. Masters at laying it down. The Thumposaurus.
Drew, what is your haiku?
Funkadelic sound from the best in the business. You gotta have that.
I'll go right in the middle. We wanted the funk, and we got it in heapfuls. Nothing wrong with that. Patrick, what is your haiku?
Superb musicians, the genius of George Clinton, funky perfection.
Squigs, what is your haiku?
Black Johnny Fever has quite good taste in music. Buy some Beano, please.
Excuse me. Sorry about that. I was just, I was hoping the mic wouldn't pick it up. But I guess you can't win them all.
Yeah, I mean, acoustic treatment, it'll help you out a lot.
All right. Well, you know what they say. Digital doesn't have the warmth and saturation of analog.
God.
Thank you,
That's
Andy
also
Anako,
false.
for that line. I got to give credit to Andy Anako. That was a great joke from Andy Anako, and I have to give all the credit to him. Back in the day. I miss when Mac Brick was around and cool. All right.
Do you need a moment, Petey?
Yes. I miss
Dream
Merlin,
sequence coming up.
I'll after the show I'll go listen to You Look Nice Today episodes and I'll be fine. But that being said, that's it for our thoughts on Parliament. We brought the funk and we got funked up. Shifting gears. Go ahead. Well, by the way, go ahead and listen to that on the Spotify playlist. Play Record Breakers, the home game. Shifting gears on the Spotify playlist will be next week's album. Next week is going to be the album I'm bringing, and I'm bringing Blur's Park Life. One of the kind of those mega hits. Not the one with that song, but the other one. The other one with the other song that got remixed by Pet Shop Boys. That one. But that's it. You can find us all over the internet. Patrick is at The Swagger. Brett is at HibbittyBibbard, HIBBITYBIBBARD. Drew is at XJuciferX. I'm at PD Rave. Matthew is at MRiddickW. That's MRiddickW. Or just yell Squiggles out your window and he'll come a-calling. He'll come just holler.
That service, though.
If you need him, just give him a holler. The show's at 4 Record Breakers. Number 4 Record Breakers. RecordBreakersPodcast.com. RecordBreakersPodcast.gmail.com. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, all over the place. That's it. Until next time.
I have a plug.
Yes, go ahead and plug, Squiggles.
MatthewWalton.net. I finally uploaded a video of me and another guy playing an acoustic arrangement of Hotel California. I think it was pretty cool. Totally unbiased opinion. But check it out. It's on YouTube, but that is the YouTube channel is in a bit of flux. So MatthewWalton.net is where you can find it.
Yes, do the thing. That's it. Subscribe, like, share. Go do all the things. Until next time. Hasta los huevos.
Play us out, Squiggles. the snake.
Petey, are you over there like Axl Rosing out?
In the jungle?
No, I was more hopping. I was more hopping back and forth than anything.
I was just questioning your flexibility of snaking.
No, I was hopping back and forth. I was doing a couple of hops here, a couple of hops here, a couple of hops here, a couple of hops here.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.